This is a poll that was conducted by YouGov. It was a poll of 530 Conservative Party members. They were surveyed on Monday and Tuesday this week. That snap poll, as Mark says, see more than half say Liz Truss should resign, with Boris Johnson emerging as their top choice of successor. Some candidates appear there, but not particularly high ratings. 32% would back Rishi Sunak, 23%, and Ben Wallace on 10%. What's extraordinary, of course, about this YouGov poll is that it is Conservative Party members that selected Liz Truss just a matter of weeks ago.
And 55% of them saying she should now resign, only 38% wanting her to stay on. Well, let's get the views of Conservative MP Richard Graham joining us now. Mr Graham, thanks for your time. I don't know if you heard those figures. This poll just coming up. 55%, according to YouGov, of Tory Party members think that she should resign.
Yes. Sorry, what's the question?
Well, the question is, a YouGov poll, having spoken to Tory party members, 55% of them say she should resign. Not exactly an endorsement by her own party.
No. I mean, look, polls come and go. They go up and down. Party members vote one way one day and then have dire regret the next. To some extent, we have to sort of look through all that and focus, I think, on what the people in my constituency and all around the country are most interested in, which are what are the decisions being taken that are going to help them get through a difficult winter, energy prices, cost of living, mortgages. And I think what we've seen over the last 2 or 3 days is new Chancellor Jeremy Hunt really firm up the government's credibility for fiscal responsibility, looking after the public finances, helping steady the market response. And that all will filter through to people's daily lives.
Right. Well, the mini-budget was much more generous, actually. They were going to get a much more generous package of help with their energy bills, which would have lasted 2 years. They were going to get some tax cuts too. The pensions triple lock had been guaranteed. There were quite a lot of goodies there that actually have been scrapped. And if you say it's all about what your constituents think, then I don't reckon they'd be pretty disappointed about a lot of that.
Well, I think actually what governments are ultimately judged on are probably 3 things, really. Firstly is their competency. Secondly is whether they're going to be able to grow the economy so that there are more jobs available and more tax revenue to pay for public services. And then thirdly, their compassion, how they look after the most vulnerable. And Jeremy's been absolutely straightforward in saying, look, there are going to be some really difficult decisions ahead. How do we, in effect, be fair to both people who are working, who are probably, if they're lucky, getting 3% increase in salaries this year, to people who are retired, who are expecting to get 10 or 11%, and people who are on benefits and perhaps too disabled to be able to work, who are maybe also looking at significant increases in their costs of living. How do you make decisions that are fair to all 3 of those without hugely increasing the amount of debt this country's got and the interest we're having to pay on it at a time of high inflation? So balancing all of that is going to be really difficult, but that's what he's going to be focused on between now and the 31st of October.
Is balancing that meaning that he's told all these government departments by the end of the week to come back to him and tell him how they're going to save money, i.e. this is back to austerity Britain?
No, he made it very clear yesterday that he would be looking at this through the prism of how we can help the most vulnerable. I suspect that means, for example, some departments, like the Health and Care Department, will get protection, and that there will be others who will take a bit of a hit. But he also answered very clearly a question about, is this a return to austerity, by saying no, it is not back to 2010, 2011, when, as a result of the huge spending spree by Labour, we had to cut departmental budgets by up to 20%.